Hello. Welcome.
Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to the XTY show. I am here with my girl, Miss Trina. So Tiana is out doing mommy duty stuff, so she's not with us today, or she may be jumping on a little bit later. But as you guys know, make sure you follow us and subscribe on Instagram and our YouTube at XTY. Y'all, we got a good show for y'all tonight, right? But of course, we're gonna have to drop all of our shameless plugs, okay? Before we get started. So don't forget about my B-Day crab feast, y'all. It's on 9/10 from 6 to 10. You gotta purchase tickets. The tickets are $75. We are still looking for vendors as well. I need y'all to let me know if you can hear me good. Are we delayed in our movement or anything like that? If it's a problem, definitely leave us a comment. Make sure you hit the like button, you guys, as well. Okay. But yeah, so we are looking for vendors still. We do have a few more spaces for vendors. So if you're interested, definitely send me an inbox, or you can send an inbox to the XTY show on Facebook. So we can set that up. Okay. So I hope you guys come out and support. We appreciate it. Also, is there anything else? I feel like it's
I
more
don't know because I'm
plugs.
looking at like three cameras, so if I look like I'm dazed and confused, it's because I want y'all to see my eyes.
Yeah, so I know, right? So I got a lot to say, right? But I don't want to keep us long because we're gonna be on for probably 45 minutes to an hour, possibly. And we would love for y'all to join in on the conversation. I think this is going to be a really great conversation about emotional vulnerability within relationships, and especially with our men, y'all, because what men lack vulnerability for some odd reason. Why?
They're scared, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
Why are they scared to open up? I mean, the number one thing that you hear is that people will use things against you in like an argument or in the heat of the moment, and so people are scared to let their guard down because of that. But let's start out with what the actual definition of emotional vulnerability is. I should have practiced that. The willingness to acknowledge your emotions. Here's the key, especially painful ones. So, emotions, of course, we know can be happy and everything else, but we're talking about painful emotions, things that really affect you.
Painful emotions, childhood traumas, relationship breakups, all of those different things that keep us from being able to really function in new relationships.
And we actually have an answer from user a whole bunch of numbers. We're scared to open up because our whole life we were told to be tough.
Yep.
Right? So I'm guessing that's from your parents or grandparents or even people in the neighborhood saying, what are you crying for?
Yeah.
Put that aside. That's not what boys do. That's not what men do. And why?
Because culturally, I feel like, not even culturally, it's just because we got these roles. It's roles that we come up with, those gender roles of boys are supposed to be tough, girls are supposed to be homemakers, you know what I'm saying, or and supposed to be soft and nurturing. And now we have this imbalance, I feel like, when it comes to that masculine, feminine energy. And a lot of times I feel like men and women, like, we're all operating heavily in masculine energy because of what? We can't be vulnerable. We can't allow ourselves to be open to people because of our past hurt and trauma. So that's where I think where the division comes in at. But it's going to be good because we're going to be able to dissect this, jump right into it, see what we can actually do to come together. Because I really feel like if we can get this right, we can actually have successful relationships, right? Because teamwork makes the dream work. You got to be on the same page. Now, I want to make sure, because we're streaming from a lot of networks right now, y'all. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, follow buttons, and all of those great buttons. Make sure you leave us some comments. We definitely appreciate y'all. And thank you if you want to send some stars and gifts to us. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so hopefully that won't be a problem. But also, y'all, I know I keep dropping these shameless plugs, right? Because we got sponsors, okay? So this week, before we get started, I wanted to shout out, her name is Naki. And basically she does these different coloring books. She does She's an author as well. Her publishing company is called Kumba, Kuumba. And she did this inspired off of me. Okay, so everybody know that I am also known as the Oracle G. I do oracle readings, intuitive readings, and everything. So this coloring book is based off the major arcana, y'all. So check that out. I'm going to attach her information on our ticker. You'll be able to see it. Go follow her, subscribe. Look at this. Got the Empress. Beautiful artwork, y'all. So we got yeah. Yep. So definitely check her out, y'all. I'm gonna make sure I have that information for y'all. And if you want to sponsor the show, or if you want to have us give you little shout outs for your businesses, definitely hit us up. It's like $5 shout outs, y'all. And we'll have your information running at the bottom of the ticker. And that money goes to helping us to keep the show running, because of course we have to pay for the StreamYard and all that other great stuff. Okay. So it's going to good use, y'all. So thank you so much. Again, all right, so now we get ready to drop right into the show. All right.
So I like to try to read everyone's comments. It gets a little hard sometimes, but Yvette or Yvette, I never know which way to say it, says, I always open up and share and get taken advantage of. And I can actually relate to that, because I don't know if that's a woman thing, but it seems as though men find out, and I'm sorry because I don't want to say all men,
right,
but some men find out what your weaknesses are, and they use that to manipulate you in a negative way, to basically do their biddings. So,
but look,
so if they know you've been hurt in a certain way in the past, of course they're going to promise, I would never hurt you that way, because I'm blah, blah, blah. And then you fall for these lines. And that's basically them using their vulnerability. I mean, your emotional vulnerability against you. And I'm going to take one step back. Let's not always think about male-female relationships, because it can happen with your friends.
Yeah, it definitely can. Your family members.
Oh, yeah, definitely your family members. So, I definitely agree with you there, Miss Jackson. So then earlier, Ayoka mentioned there being a lot of us sorry, I'm getting there. A lot of us are operating in our masculine energy. So let's see. Diana said, everyone has a feminine energy and masculine energy. We need to learn how to balance both energies.
We have to balance. We have to operate in duality, you guys, and that's the problem. We don't know how to balance the energy. And once you're balanced, and of course, you know how to be in your feminine energy, again, like we said, was that nurturing. And then we know how to jump into the masculine, which that means we're going to be in our logic at this point. But how in the world if you always in masculine energy, you can't never nurture that side of you, which that's really basically what it is. It's like you can't nurture that side of you that needs to be vulnerable. Right. You know, so it's like it goes back to us having to really heal from our childhood traumas. Not even that. It could be like a relationship you just got out of last week that what's the word, emasculated the hell out of you, right?
You know, and somebody said, speaking of childhood traumas, somebody said, be the person who the child in you needed back then.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree.
So for me, not to get too deep into my personal business.
Girl, let's go. Come on. We like vulnerability, honey.
But for me, see, here it goes. I'm already pulling back. So I'm not leading by example.
Right.
But I was hurt as a young child, and I didn't feel protected. So because of that, my trauma is definitely based on not feeling protected, whether it was by, my caretakers or my friends or what have you. I didn't feel protected. I felt unsafe. So now I need to protect myself and protect that young child. Like, I need to be there for her and be there for myself to make sure that no one takes advantage of me. So that can make me less emotionally vulnerable now. I hope I'm not confusing you.
Yeah.
Less emotionally vulnerable now, but it's hard to stay stuck in that pattern. Because, like, for me, when I love hard. So I have a problem, and I shouldn't say it's a problem. I let people in very easily.
Yeah.
So I need to, I feel like, take a step back and be able to protect myself if I open up. And that means that you can't get bent out of shape per se. If somebody uses something against you, you know, shame on them.
Yeah.
You don't just break down and stop being vulnerable because of that.
But sometimes people, they become afraid again, and it's because it's like when you're opening yourself up and sharing your deepest emotions, and like she said, you get somebody that uses that against you, it makes it hard for you to trust the next person. And I feel like we all kind of have suffered from those abandonment issues. And you guys, abandonment issues are not just someone leaving you. It's when you have someone who did not nurture your emotions growing up, you know, like a caretaker, like she said, a mom or a father. It usually starts as a mother wound. If they didn't nurture you in a proper way, you end up feeling unsafe. And when you're not feeling safe, as you know, you're blocked in your root chakra. That's what makes you feel stable and secure. And I feel like once you are able to really balance yourself and work on yourself, which people are afraid to do, that's just what it is. People are afraid to face their mirror, because if you face that mirror, that means you got to face that trauma. And that's something that we try to put in our subconscious mind and block out so we don't have to deal with it. And when you get in a situation when somebody is mirroring back their wounds to you, mirroring back your wounds to you, you run or you close yourself off, because it's like, damn, that reminded me of a situation when I was with my ex and they did the same thing, or my dad abandoned me and didn't, you understand, love me like I needed to be loved. So guess what? You put up this wall to try to protect yourself. That's the ego. So your ego mind is going to try to keep you safe. And that's why we end up not opening up to be vulnerable. And I understand that, but it takes a lot to be able to do that and keep yourself open all the time. But once you start to learn that these experiences happen so that you can help other people, it's more easy for you to be like, oh yeah, I feel like this because so and so and so, and you really kind of like dissecting it and breaking it down. But the thing is, it's like when we come together in these relationships, why can't we do it with each other? Like, we can be vulnerable together,
right?
As friends, right?
Yeah,
I can sit up here and
for so long. Like, you can break down in tears and tell me something.
Yes.
And even if I don't agree with her decision on how she chose to handle whatever was going on, I'm still gonna be there for her.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to choose who you're gonna be vulnerable with.
But the people that you're sleeping with, you're sharing the most intimate part of yourself with, you can't open up to.
Yeah, and I feel like that's mostly men again.
Women do it too.
But we don't have any. We need some males to actually dial in and talk to us. Yeah. I mean, we did have someone that was a man comment. He said it's because they were taught to be tough all their lives. So now, you know, it's hard to break down in tears when they really need to actually cleanse.
And
tears can be cleansing.
I feel like, no offense, y'all, but I feel like men are some of the most emotional creatures out there. I mean, really, truthfully, like, they really are emotional and they just hide it so well.
Right.
But like we said, it's because they were taught to be that way. And it's so amazing though, because a lot of times, like even with my son, like he'll put on this tough exterior, but when it comes with me, oh, he's vulnerable, honey. Like he will shed a tear, you understand? So you can do it with your mama and things like that. But it's like putting up that tough exterior. So it makes me wonder, like, when can we get to this point where a man can actually say, you know what, that hurt me. You know, that disappointed me. You know what I'm saying? And like we good. We working on the same page at this point.
Right. And now you can actually communicate to make things better. You know, you can't communicate based off of unspoken expectations. Or anything like that.
But I'm sorry. I know all these ideas is just like coming to my mind too. Like, so then it's like, but maybe a man doesn't become vulnerable because a woman won't show her vulnerability, or however it go. Again, it could be masculine, feminine, right? Because we know that every relationship is not heterosexual, but it's just like, maybe that might be the key. If you're willing to open yourself up and speak your truth,
Right.
Will they do the same thing?
But so many women have been scarred.
Yep, and you're afraid to say what you really mean. You're afraid to say what you really feel.
Yep. And that can come from emotional abuse.
Yep.
Physical abuse at the hand of a past partner.
Yep. Or even how they responded to you in a question you may have asked them.
Right. And I've definitely had that. I feel like I've been through some emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Some, and mine's is at the hands of people who I consider my partner, whether it's been a boyfriend or, just someone I'm dating and getting to know. And, I've said something and it's almost like they lash out.
Yeah.
Why would you say something like that? And it's like,
and
it's
then
my
after
truth.
that, yep, you be like, I'm not going to say anything no more. I'm never going to express how I feel because this person just wowed me out just now, right?
Right. And then it's like, and then I think that's where confidence and self-esteem come in because do you stay and, and walk on eggshells to not be yourself and not be vulnerable? Or do you walk away and say, I need someone that I can be vulnerable with?
Yeah, and that's what you should do. I feel like regardless of what this person says or how they feel, you should still speak your truth. And usually a lot of times if somebody responds in that way, it's because they're wearing a mask and they're trying to hide something. Or they don't want to show their vulnerability.
Right.
Or they are just freaking narcissists. We know that's just like the famous word. You understand? But gaslight you. They do all of these different things. But that's how they control you. By keeping you from being able to say it. And especially when you think about the relationship aspect, or even if you're just dating, and if you already know you're going into this connection and you're thinking one way, and you know that the person that you're dating has a whole different idea, and you're not on the same page really, but you still kind of like this person, what you end up doing, you end up not really saying what it is that you truly want out of the situation. And then that's when you in a situationship, and you all caught up.
And that can go on for like a year.
Forever.
I mean, somebody told me
and nobody ever and nobody ever communicates what they really truly want, because you're afraid now to actually say like, well, I do actually kind of want a relationship.
Right. And so almost to what Diana's point, she said men are intimidated when you live in your truth.
Yeah.
So if my truth is I want a relationship and not a situationship, that would cause some intimidation in my mind if the man is not ready for that, but he still wants to keep you around.
Yeah.
And like, like she's not going to just let me do what I want to do and keep moving on and keep on going. Nope. She's going to, try to shut this down.
Right.
So they're stuck.
But I feel like, again, like you said, it all starts with off the bat, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be open and not be afraid. But it takes a lot of self-awareness. One, like you said, it takes a lot of not being afraid to speak your truth, having that confidence and not caring if I say what I mean and this person is not going to leave me or stop messing with me just because I'm speaking my truth.
Yeah,
that's a lot of times why I know. And even I feel like guys may even feel the same way to a certain degree as well. Because to be honest, like I said, they seem to be more emotional than we are. They just hide it well.
But we don't, we'll never know. And when you are vulnerable, it makes your relationships stronger.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you have to want to make the relationship stronger. Sometimes, it just is one of those relationships where it just is what it is.
Right.
I'm not being vulnerable because you're not my person.
Right.
I know you're not going to be my person. I'm not going to try to let you be my person. Right. So I'm just
And then vulnerability means different things to certain people. So where we may feel like your vulnerability is showing me your emotions. Like instead of you yelling at me and screaming at me and flipping out and saying, oh, you're stupid. You understand? Like,
well, that's dumb. Why would you let that get to you?
Exactly.
I let it get to me because it got to me. Like, I don't have to explain how something made me feel. If it made me feel that way, then that's how it made me feel. I'm not weak or anything else. I'm a person and I have emotions.
But I feel like when people do that, because I'm not going to lie, like I've come from a situation where it was really extremely toxic like that. And it was hard for me to express myself and be vulnerable because, like you said, it seemed like every time I would say something, I would always get hit with the, oh, that's dumb. You crazy. You living in a fairy tale. You this, you that. So I just stopped talking.
So is that the definition of gaslighting? I never knew what gaslighting is.
Yeah.
To make it seem as though you're the person
that is crazy and it is the problem.
And yeah, you're causing your own problems, basically. Like, this is not a real problem. You're causing that in your head. Okay, so that's gaslighting. Yeah.
So I never was able, I always was afraid to speak up because it felt like, okay, if I say something, that people are going to think I'm crazy. You understand? So like, even down to now, like being on the, I guess, streaming like I do now so much, it took a lot for me to get to this point to have a lot to say like I do. Like, I will always be like, oh my God, somebody's going to think I'm crazy.
That fear of judgment.
That fear of judgment, the lack of confidence. Like, it's so much that it does to a person. And just imagine, like I said, men go through it too. So they go through it, and we hate to talk about it. But a lot of men come from families where the mothers were toxic as hell. Mm-hmm. So we hate to talk about it, right? But it's the truth. And we try to figure out, well, why they act like that.
Right.
Look what they were raised around. Look at the trauma that they also experienced. Men be actually in relationships with women who are abusive.
And I didn't know that until I got grown. Like, oh, women can be abusive too, physically and emotionally as well.
Yes.
And like,
gaslight you.
And to me, I feel like that's even more damaging to a man than it is to a woman. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is. And especially if it's their first love. Mm-hmm. Honey, they will carry that. This can happen when they 14, and they will carry that with them through all the rest of their relationships. And that will be their basis of how they treat women.
Exactly. And I wanted to make a point on judgment. Mm-hmm. But first, let me recognize Shy. I can't see the picture. But Shy said, exactly respect me for the way I feel. Mm-hmm. I know someone that's been carrying it for 20 years. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I probably should have took a step back. But you have to respect the way something made me feel. But as far as judgment, I feel as though people are going to judge you no matter what. Whether you're on your physical, your mental, or whatever.
Yep.
But the thing is, we don't know what they're judging or what they're thinking. So we can't worry about it. Because just know that it is what it is. They're going to judge, and just let them. Because if you don't know what they're saying, how can you be hurt by it?
Right, exactly. But it's just, again, it's something that your mind may tell you that they're saying. You understand? So it's like, again, your ego kicks in and it starts saying, oh, they're judging me. Oh, but that's what I'm saying. It takes a lot for you to actually get there. And some people just are not there, right? Because we still lack the confidence. Our self-esteem may still feel crazy. Our own self-worth is still like lacking. So you begin again, like, okay, I'm not going to show who I am because we wear masks. Like, we always show up as our representative, but never who we truly are. I feel like a lot of people do that. So it's like, instead, again, it's like, come on, show up as who you are. But people are afraid to be that because what society says that you're supposed to operate in this way. And even though I know this may be a little bit off topic, but when it comes down to the gender roles and how now everybody is trying to become like this gender neutral society. In some ways I kind of get it. And then some ways it's like, it's going a little bit too far. But in other ways I get it because of the simple fact, again, you got it here where our men and our young boys are afraid to show emotion. You understand, or are afraid to be themselves.
But now that we're judgment. But now that we're talking about gender neutrality, if that's a word, but being genders being neutral. Would that mean that people can now be more vulnerable because they're able to live in their truth? Mm-hmm. So I
feel that way.
If they feel like, no, this is who I really am, that's already a step in the right direction to being vulnerable with, the world, really. Yeah. Because the world is going to pass judgment and is going to treat you differently based on how you carry yourself or who you believe you are.
Yeah, because now you can actually be yourself. You understand? Now I can actually feel comfortable that, like, even now being a intuitive reader, like, I can actually be like, oh, this is who I am. People, what you do? Oh yeah, I read tarot. You understand? Well, I read cards or whatever, and I'm not afraid of people's judging it. But now it's because also I've learned my own self-awareness. Mm-hmm. You understand? I learned that I am enough. But that takes work. You understand? And everybody, I feel like, y'all, people who be against therapy, you need to go see a therapist, right? You need to go see somebody that can actually help you to overcome some of the challenges. And now I'm even noticing a lot of men are actually seeking therapy. You got a good amount of men that's getting it and waking up.
Exactly. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And not just men. I'm also thinking about the African American Black community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been a stigma, and it's always been, well, just go to church. The Lord will take care of it. Or your parents or whoever's taking care of you as you're growing up wants to beat it out of you. And mental health and being vulnerable, crying, or whatever can't be beat out of a person. Well, you know what? Let me take that back. It can be beat out of a person, but then they're not healthy emotionally as they get older. And it's sad. It's setting them up for failure, because being vulnerable makes your relationship stronger. It reduces your anxiety.
Yep.
So many things.
Thank you, Car. We appreciate it. Thank you for the stars.
I love stars. And we also appreciate the people who have liked the video and who have shared the live thus far. And just being here.
Yep.
I mean,
your energy is everything.
It's awesome.
We definitely shout out to the Hosleys. Hey, they should be on our show one Tuesday, okay? So I don't know what Tuesday we came up with yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
The Hosleys.
Yeah. So basically, all right, so now I got to drop another shameless plug.
Oh, gosh. I didn't mean to take her too far off topic, y'all. I'm sorry.
And thank you to everybody over on my TikTok live who has sent gifts. Definitely appreciate you. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, y'all. All right, so when it comes down to it, we already know the reasons behind why people are not vulnerable, or men or women, however, right? Mm-hmm. But what are some of the solutions? What do you think can help us to really, really be able to overcome these challenges?
I think you have to pay it forward. Mm. So if we want people to be more emotionally vulnerable, we have to give them a space to be emotionally vulnerable. Yeah. And the more people that are giving people space to be emotionally vulnerable, the more people will become emotionally vulnerable. I get it. So, for instance, like a way that I can let you be vulnerable is I can observe what you're going through, right. Observe even just your down to your posture and your body movements, and if you're crying, and then I can validate you. Mm-hmm. I understand how you feel.
Girl, that brought up a memory, girl. Oh, gosh. I remember I would cry my eyes out, and my ex would literally turn over, and I would be sitting there just crying. Mm-hmm. No, what's going on? Nothing, right? And that stuff like that, when things happen like that, it's trauma. So what ends up happening now? Guess what? I don't cry. If you see me cry, I got to be extremely hurt. I will hide that emotion from everybody, right? So now, and this is how you can see the trickling effects of why people do what they do.
Right. So validate somebody in your life today. Validate them. Or if they're not vulnerable with you today, whenever they are, validate them. Validate how they're feeling and let them know it's okay. And you don't have to go in it. I know we like to practice empathy. And empathy is, letting the person know, oh, I've been there, I understand, but don't make it about you. Yeah. I mean,
I was getting ready to say that. We on the same page with that.
Yeah, it's a fine line between empathy and making it about you. If you just take over the conversation, then it kind of defeats the purpose of them being vulnerable and opening up to you.
And how about we start doing stuff instead of, how when you call people, instead of jumping right in and, like you said, making it about you, or even if you see somebody, why can't we just say, hey, how are you? How are you feeling today? Mm-hmm. Off the bat, instead of us just going girl, not even asking you got time to talk? Yeah. How are you feeling today? What are you feeling? So I feel that would be a good, thing to start off with, especially in relationships. So you can kind of understand, what's this person's mood going to be in at the moment. I could be just chilling and having a conversation with them, and I can trigger them some kind of way. Right. And I don't even know what I did wrong. I ain't saying tiptoe around people. Of course not. Right. But at the same time, it's we're still being able to have this open dialogue and honest communication with each other.
Right. And then also learn how to validate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So just because something I feel bad or I feel sad, if I feel bad, it doesn't mean that something bad actually happened, if that makes sense. So, or my anxiety will kick in or whatever, and I'll think something bad is going to happen, and then now I'm all anxious
Right.
when I really just need to get it out,
Yeah.
talk, and be able to bring it back.
Right.
To center, basically
Yeah.
center myself,
Mm-hmm.
and just hold on to that vulnerability and open up and validate myself to know Miss Trina, whatever you want to call me.
Right.
It's okay. Just calm down.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that you've been hurt, and you don't have to move on.
Yeah.
But acknowledge that you've been hurt. Validate that feeling, and remind yourself that it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
All it is a thing.
And that's it. And I feel like a lot of times people project, but we take it personally, again, because it's a trigger for us. But a lot of times when people are acting a certain way, is because, again, they're projecting off a feeling of their, how you say it, negative, whatever.
How they're...
I don't even know what the word that I want to say. It's like they're projecting off of their own insecurities. I guess that's how you can say it, onto you. So we begin to take it personal, and we shut down when we shouldn't be. And a lot of times we have to realize that we don't have to deal with our stuff alone. This is why your partners are with you, your friends are with you, and you have certain family members. And life can be really challenging, but like I said, at the same time, it's like allowing us to know, like, this is a safe space. I am here for you.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Because we all need someone to be there for us, whether it's our significant other, whether it's our parents, just a friend. Yeah.
It's too much stigma. It's too much stigma around you got to be tough. It's too much around you got to present yourself a certain way. It's bad enough that when we go out here and face the world, we have to put on this face when we go to work. You understand? It's just bad enough that we always have to be on guard, period. You should be able to, when you're around the people that you love.
Yeah. Relax, relate, and release.
And if you can't do that, y'all don't need to be in no relationships with people. Right. Okay, like, what are we doing?
Friends with them. Exactly. And you know what? Family can go too.
Yup. And matter of fact, y'all need to be strong enough on your own to go ahead and cut these people off. Because a lot of times we hold on to people because of what? Years? Oh, we've been friends for years, right?
Well, we've been through so much together.
Knowing daggone well that these people are not serving you not one bit. It's okay to let go. It ain't saying that you don't love these people, but it's saying that you love yourself more, and that you're not going to continue to keep going through these cycles with these folks. And it's all good. That's including family members too. Okay, listen. For real, like, a whole lot of times, a lot of things that we go through, we don't even have to go through. It don't even be our stuff. Like I said, it be other people's stuff being projected off onto us.
Ooh, misery loves company. So I can come to somebody that, you know, thinking I'm being vulnerable and trying to tell them how I'm feeling about our relationship and what we're going through. But if they're miserable, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how you say it. They're going to snap. They're going to find a reason why you're wrong and why you're crazy to feel that way. And unfortunately, that's why we come back to closing up and not wanting to be emotionally vulnerable. But don't feel that way. Like, just try. Like, really try to connect to someone. Like, that's also your assignment. Your assignment is to let someone be emotionally vulnerable towards you. Meaning, let them talk, give them their space, validate them. You know, and observe how they're acting and know how you need to react. And then also find someone to be vulnerable with. Yeah. You know, that's your assignment. Find someone that you can be vulnerable with, whether you're a man or a woman, or I don't know what the other terms are. I'm working on it, y'all. Non-binary. Yeah. I think that's
so many different terms.
Right. No matter what it is, find someone and try to be vulnerable. I pray that it doesn't slap you in the face, because I'm telling you to do
But even if it does slap you in the face, it's okay, because you living in your truth at the end of the day. Not everybody is going to like your truth, but it's not your problem. You're still able to live in your most authentic self when you're able to do that, regardless of how people feel. So, and it's some tips that I do want to be able to give you guys, that's coming from a more holistic approach, so that you can be able to get yourself into alignment. Besides, therapy, again, like I said, is the first thing. But a lot of times when we can't speak our truth is because our throat chakra is blocked. So you might want to practice doing things like singing, humming, meditation. Um, you can go for acupuncture, Reiki. I know a lot of Reiki practitioners, as well, if y'all need some recommendations. And work on your root chakra. So your throat chakra, if you're having trouble speaking your truth, and if you're not feeling safe, your root chakra is blocked. They got healing crystals. You got meditation music. You can go ahead to YouTube, put in throat chakra meditation music, and guess what? Fasting also helps. Thank you, Carl. Fasting, prayer, meditation. You can ask the divine or however it resonates for you, because I know everybody has different spiritual belief systems, to help you to feel safe and to feel grounded and to unblock your chakras. This will help you to be also vulnerable as well, because now you are, oh, hold up, y'all. And don't forget, you can take your shoes off. Okay, I'm an earth sign, y'all, so I love to put my bare feet in the grass to ground yourself. Okay, that helps to make you feel safe and stable, y'all. And I do encourage you guys to go and do the work on yourself. Okay, don't worry about nobody else. You're doing your part. You're operating in your most authentic self. You're showing that you love who you are, regardless of what your partner says or your best friend or your mama say. Okay,
right. And when you do that, you'll actually attract more people that are like you, therefore more people that you can be vulnerable with, and more people that you can, connect with, because like you said, I don't know exactly how you said it, but you're a mirror.
Yeah, mirror reflection of each other.
So I'm going to attract what I'm putting out. If I'm putting out negative energy, I'm going to get negative energy.
Yep, exactly, y'all. So let's do the work, because like we said, teamwork makes the dream work. Okay. We want to be able to have healthy relationships with everybody. And of course, men, we want y'all to feel like you can be in a safe space and be vulnerable in your relationships, right? Because that's necessary. And we want everybody who has boys, right? Children, you want to be able to allow your children to be able to be vulnerable, and express themselves and not hide, right? And not feel like they can't talk to nobody, because that's not cool. That's whack, right?
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. If you have a son that feels like he can't come to you because you're going to automatically judge him, or tell him he's being weak, or I've actually had someone tell their young son that he's being a P.
Yeah. I was like,
I guess the other name that they use for vagina. And I'm like, he's 10.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Because that's what men are programmed to do. And I can say I am or was guilty of it too with my son growing up as well. But then now it's like I'm starting to learn, like, all right, I gotta be a little bit less masculine and be more emotional, which is kind of nurturing. Yeah. But it's because that's what we were taught. Even as a woman and young child, I couldn't do things like that. Like, why you always crying? Stop crying. You get put in this place of where you gotta be so freaking self-reliant and hard. It's terrible, right? And then when you actually find a partner, you operating so much in your masculine energy and you so independent, you don't really need them hardly for anything, right?
Yeah, you think you don't.
You don't, exactly.
That I don't need a man, I don't need a woman.
Right.
That's not true.
The roles have definitely reversed, but however, y'all, we're gonna start working on balancing our energy so that we can show up for one another. But first, we gonna show up for ourselves, y'all. Okay, first and foremost. And y'all, don't forget, hit that like button once again. Thank you.
Heart, like, follow, share,
everything.
And also, because I feel like we're going to be wrapping up soon. If you have topics that you want to discuss, please send them in. We definitely appreciate that anytime. And if you want to actually not only submit the topic, but join the show as a guest we love to hear more perspective, because it would have been great if we would have had a man here today to talk about how he's feeling and why he's not being vulnerable, or why he is being vulnerable. Because, you know, there are some men that are perfectly fine with being vulnerable, and maybe they could have taught us something.
Yep. We also do interviews too as well. So if you got something big coming up and you want to get it out there for publicity, holla at us. Send us an email at xty@gmail.com, or you can inbox us as well at the XTY Show on Facebook. And before we end, Carr has said, glad this is being talked about. I actually had to address my husband on how he talks to our 3-year-old. Allow the boys to cry and stop saying you're acting like a little girl. Please.
They need that. They need to be able to come to us as they get older and know that we've got their back.
Yep.
Like, and I'm going to have to say, especially the black man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they feel like they're being emasculated when, you know, when they're being open. It's something that I've seen on the internet going around that I just love. Black men frolicking. Have you seen it?
I like frolicking though.
Yeah. They hold up their camera and they like just run through the grass. And they're so happy. Yeah. And they're not worried about being stereotyped or anything else. It's like, I feel like they've actually grown into their own, and they're okay being open and vulnerable. Like, I would love that for every black man to be able to have someone that they can share with and open up with. And we can reduce some of this childhood trauma that people are going through and have healthier relationships. We need those relationships for our community.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I like it.
That was a good show, y'all. We definitely needed to talk about this. You guys, TN should be back next Tuesday. Okay. And don't forget, if you just tuning in, or if you tuned in kind of late, y'all, I'm still going to drop another plug about my birthday, because we got some tickets. Okay. So you got until August the 12th to buy your ticket, y'all. Thank you so much. And also tomorrow, I also have another show. It's called Divine Feminine. So if you are definitely interested in hearing collective intuitive readings, it's me and Earth Prophetess that come on, and we share our journeys, okay, our healing journeys, twin flame journeys, and we also pull cards live, okay, so you get to definitely interact with us. You can check us out tomorrow at 7 p.m. on TikTok Live, or on my YouTube, The Oracle Goddess. Okay, y'all. So hopefully y'all can tune in. And again, thank you again for the stars, the lights, and the gifts. We definitely appreciate y'all. Anything else you guys say?
Love y'all.
Until we meet again next Tuesday at 7. All right, maybe 7:15. Peace.
I don't know how to end it.
It's a little button up there.
Button.